Hey, do you have an idea for a podcast but don't know where to start? Or do you have an already existing podcast that you want to take to the next level? Well, check out WeKnowPodcasting.com. From concept development to theme music to editing to logos, WeKnowPodcasting.com is a one-stop shop for all things pod. Don't hesitate to hit us up. We're very nice.
Well, there's a party each and every year on Christmas Eve, where the fun and cocktail shrimp don't seem to end. Clark and Ralphie taking turns on the TV screen, laughing, singing, yelling with all of our friends. Well, it's Christmas, and everybody's gonna spread the holiday cheer. 'Cause it's Christmas. Oh, it's the best time of the year.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
Well, another Christmas season has come and gone.
Another Christmas season truly has come and gone.
It's the afternoon after Christmas.
It is the afternoon
There's
after Christmas, 1:05 p.m. to be exact.
no poems about this.
There's no, like, I'm so distraught. Now there is one part of me that's like super stoked. And I know you haven't been keeping up recently, but I just want to say all hail our Lord and Savior Cody Rhodes on his third TNT championship win last night. Dude, I'm getting back into it. Honestly, we spent the morning watching clips of AEW and we're super stoked. I bowl on Wednesdays, so we don't usually get to watch AEW Dynamite, but this week we're not bowling, and I'm super hyped to sit down and watch it. But yeah, I think Cody Rhodes is amazing at what he does, and I know people are like making fun of me for praising Cody Rhodes, but dude, I want to see this dude go full heel, like so hard. I think it'll be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch that much wrestling anymore, but I do stay on top of all of the Cultaholic updates every day, and I know that it sounds like they're doing something really great with like Cody being the best kind of heel, which is the heel that thinks he's a babyface the whole time. So yeah, I'm stoked to see where that goes.
People are getting really upset. They're like, "Oh my god, they're doing the same thing WWE does," and I'm like, I don't think they are. I think they're fully aware of what they're doing.
They're aware of what it's bringing up in people.
Exactly.
It's for sure. But you know what, guys? Last year we did our post-Christmas episode, and it was, there was a little bit of a somberness to it, but all in all, it was like, hey man, we got some holly jolly still in us. We're going to fucking holly jolly all over 2021. But I think you and I both, and from conversations I've had with a lot of people, there was just something that wasn't right about this Christmas that I can't figure it out. Yeah,
I can't put my finger on it. Like so to walk through the day, Teddy and I, the night before we went to her parents' house, and to talk candidly, got a little turnt. Got turned up a little bit. But me being who I am, as I wake up every Christmas morning way too fucking early than everyone else, I was awake at 3:30 a.m. and was sitting out on the couch while Christmas Story played in the background, trying to fall back asleep, trying to keep that Christmas magic going. And I like made coffee at like 7 a.m. And I think we finally, to put that into perspective, we finally got ourselves going at like 10. So think about that. I've been up since 3:30 a.m. I know Teddy loves Christmas, but she's not one to rush out of bed on Christmas morning, which is perfectly fine. But it was like already a weird start to the day. We go to her parents and have a pretty good time. We end up at my parents again, real low key. And all of a sudden, like, I'm sitting at my parents' house and I just start crying. Like I just start welling up and side note, folks, if you're on depression medicine, take your medication. Because I know one of my problems was I had been out of my Lexapro for a couple days and I wasn't able to go pick it up yet. But I don't think that was like the main reason. It's just this year was so weird, and it's even stranger because I feel like last year was a weirder Christmas than this year.
So I got some theories.
Okay.
I've got 2 theories.
Shoot.
I think theory number 1,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving came way too fucking late.
Yeah.
And it encroached on it. So it basically took away a week of Christmas build-up time.
Yep.
Secondly, I don't know about where you're at, but I think I had about 2 days all of December that were under 50 degrees. So like,
Yeah.
I never felt that Christmas chill.
No.
So I think that like nothing about the world around me was making me feel Christmassy. And then it was like, I was literally having this conversation with my sister yesterday. Like, I just kept forcing myself to watch all these Christmas movies that spark joy in me.
Yeah.
But like, they weren't working this year. And I don't know why.
No.
Like even, my whole thing is usually from like November 1st until Christmas Day, my Instagram story is just packed with like, hey, here's the Christmas movies I'm watching. Keep track. Try to keep up with me, baby. And like, maybe like 2 weeks ago, I just stopped posting. So much so that like 2 or 3 people reached out to check in to make sure I was okay. Because they're like, hey, man, you haven't been posting anything. And I kind of like, my excuse was, well, I haven't really watched it. Like, I haven't watched anything new in a bit. And it's just been like, how many times can I say like, hey, this Muppets Christmas Carol, it's pretty great. Like, we all know that. Like, I don't know. It just was weird. The whole Christmas mood, like my Christmas didn't start until 3 p.m. yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is like the latest it ever kicked off for me. And it was just it was a bit of a bummer. Like my brother didn't make it home from Gettysburg until 3 o'clock. So it was like, I've said this before, and I was actually texting my friend Amy about it too. But like, Christmas when you're single and an adult is tough.
Yeah.
Because like you're dependent on all of the other non-single people to be done doing their things with their significant others and their family before they're like, okay, now let me go back to like my parents' house and like start Christmas there. But like I got nothing but my parents' house. Yeah. So like I'm just kind of sitting there like twiddling my thumbs, like watching Merry Christmas, Mr. Bean. And don't get me wrong, there was some holly jolly going on in that. We'll do an episode on Merry Christmas, Mr. Bean, because I
don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh my God, I genuinely think the first 15 minutes of that is the funniest 15 minutes of any Christmas special.
Yeah.
Like just every gag hits so hard, but like it was a tough one, and I think it's important that we do this conversation as much as we love to shove the holly jolly. Like I know that there are plenty of people who watch. Only I watch you. The rest of the world listens. There's only a handful of people who listen. I know a handful of people who listen to us who are not nearly on the holly jolly level that you are, the Christmas all year round type tip. And I think that, like we bring a holly jolly, but I think more than anything, we bring a sincerity and we bring an honesty. And it just wasn't feeling it this year. I loved every episode we dropped this year. Yep. I loved every second we were recording.
I think our recordings were stellar this year. Like so there's a lot of the times where I won't listen back to episodes just because like it wasn't a topic, even topics that I suggest. I'm like, I don't think that conversation was as good as I had hoped it had been. But this year, like I listened to everything that we did. I even sat in the car and listened to our reading of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas the other night on our way home. It's been such a strange year. I feel like you and I were going like really hard up until like Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
and then,
Thanksgiving stalled me out.
Yeah,
I think.
Straight up. Like Thanksgiving was so funny. I was thinking about that last night. Like the anticipation for Thanksgiving and the build for that was out of this world. Like we were going ham. And not just
you
recording.
Were gonna eat ham.
Yeah, exactly. and not just like going hard with recording, but just our feelings in general, being excited for the holiday. And I know one of the big things that happened over here was like I was in the middle of doing Shrek, and I was rehearsing every single night. And every weekend in December was taken up by something. I didn't by Shrek. I wasn't able to do any weekend Christmas stuff, and we talked about that last year, how like the build up to Christmas is usually more Christmassy to us than the actual day of Christmas.
Yeah, and I think
wasn't-
that's what hurt me.
Yeah.
The buildup was, and I same boat as you. Like, I was in California for 6
Yeah,
days
that's
of
right.
December. You know what I mean? And then literally the next day, like I came back, and then it was like a full week of prepping for the live stream.
Yeah.
And again, Christmas at the end of the day is not about the day.
No.
It's not even about Santa. It's
Nope.
not even about us feeling good. But the flip side is like, you know what? We got that $2,000 for Liam. We got that $2,000
Yeah, that
on
was
Christmas
awesome to
morning.
hear. Thank
like
you,
to wake
everyone.
up Christmas morning to see that. I think that next week we're going to put out the audio of that Christmas commercials
Sick.
episode. Amazing. Such a good time. When
Yeah,
you're on a
that
live
was a-
stream and three people are crying after a commercial.
Oh my
like,
God, we were balling.
that's
And
some
that's
good
how
shit.
I felt last night. Like,
yeah.
Oh my
Do you want to see
God.
something that'll really make you cry though?
Oh no.
I want to show you, the dear listeners, you won't be able to see this, but I'll explain it in a second. I want to hold up what our listenership was like over the last 2 weeks or 2 months. So I just
God.
held up a picture to Dylan that shows the line chart of everything. So last December, we pulled in 1,200 listens,
Yeah.
which felt like
Amazing.
to us, right? In October, we pulled in 1,080 listens.
Yeah.
Just 2 months later in December, 6,452 people listening to you and I get holly jolly. There was a thing we shared on our Christmas 365 Instagram story where someone paired us up with Christmas Past, which I believe is one of the podcasts you told me to listen to when I pitched this to us. So like the idea that there are people, I mean, I have a person who's become almost my best friend in a
100%,
very
dude.
short period of time. Oh, well, you too. But I was going to say like listeners who I didn't know who've reached
Never
out
mind,
to
fuck
me.
you, bro.
Yeah. But no, it's
Yeah.
you've become one of my best friends.
Definitely,
Listeners
dude.
that I didn't know without this podcast have become some of my best friends. Some of my best friends for life who I've
Yeah.
known for decades, who normally don't listen to a lot of my podcasts, fucking love listening to Christmas 365. And I think that's why it's important to do this episode to also be
Yeah.
like, look, sometimes we get sad too. Like I
100%.
I posted very publicly that like in the new year I'm going back to my therapist. You know, you
Dude,
just like hit a point
Yeah.
like where, you know, this was the year that I was like, I think I've been slacking on the self-love and the self-care.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been slacking on self-love. I do that every other night.
Yeah, we talked about the sad tissues earlier.
But
Are these sad tissues or happy tissues?
but taking care of myself, I was slacking. I was, you know,
Yeah.
you had called me out on it. My friend Kelsey called me out on it. Everybody at Horror Movie Night and Geekscape called me out on it, that I was just burning not just a candle at both ends, but like multiple candles at multiple ends while
Yeah.
trying to juggle them all, and like not taking an hour or two to just like take care of me.
Exactly.
And so
You did, dude. You took on a hell of a lot, and you don't give yourself enough credit, man. Like, I'm proud of you for
Thank you.
pursuing what you're doing, and keeping yourself moving. And I think it was not this past summer, but the summer before, where you told me what your idea was. I think we were heading to the Mahaning. So
yeah.
and you told me what your idea was, and I'm so glad to see some of these things coming to fruition and seeing how far you've come. And dude, I'm genuinely proud of you. And seriously, you have become one of my best friends. You are the main person I talk to every day.
Yeah, there's
Like,
there's always a text from Dylan, and I'm always I am very appreciative. I realized, and I'm sure you do the same thing that I do, but like I take the time every December 25th. I sit down and I just go through my phone and I shoot. You know, sometimes it's a little book that I'm
Yeah.
sending people. Other times it's just a little message, but like letting people know, hey, Merry Christmas. I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was blessed with how many names I felt like this person meant a lot to me this year. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like people that I wanted to make sure, hey, you good? Are
Yep.
you good? And like, it's been nothing but a blessing. This podcast has legitimately been a blessing. Just, you know, this was This was a tough December
Yeah.
for a lot of people. I've noticed tougher than last year, which, like you said, is very strange in a lot of ways.
I almost
But
think that like
I think we were prepared for it to be tough last year.
yeah, and I think that with this year, I think it's twofold. And I see it with my students too. People are struggling to return to I'm putting quotes up here. To return to that normal. Like people are struggling to interact with one another. Like my students 100%, like missing that year of interaction has completely like changed the way they act. Like they don't know how to be humans anymore. But along with it, I think I don't want to I hate getting political. I don't want to get political on here, but fuck it, I'm going to. I think when people saw that like Trump lost the presidency, I think a lot of people had this idea of like, all right, that's done now. We're going to return to like not butting heads and hating one another. And it hasn't changed. Like we're still doing that, but now it's all about the vaccines. Like we're not going to get vaccinated. We're going to get vaccinated. And like everybody just, dude, there's such a lack of community.
It's everything has become so divided.
It is.
And like that was like this was a weird thing. So you know, I've been very open that like I am kind of the rare not conservative person in my family.
Yeah, same.
And
same.
You know, I tried to do this year. We agreed amongst the brothers and sisters that we were going to keep it low key this Christmas. We were just going to get each other a Christmas ornament. Of course, being the big brother, I broke that rule and I got them a Christmas ornament, and then I also got them each a book.
That's awesome.
But you know, my one sister Jamie is very, very into politics and stuff like that. And even though her beliefs are completely different than mine, I got a book that I knew that she would be excited about that was called like Conservative Responses to Liberal Lies or something like that.
Yeah, something tongue in cheek.
Yeah, and she was like so happy that I got her that gift. And I think it's also because like on her end, like she experiences a lot of like people just not wanting to deal with her having a different belief than them. And it's like, yeah, I don't agree with a lot of her beliefs, but I know who she is at her core, and I know she's a good person. And like, hey, I might not agree with you, but I know that this is something that you want. So like,
and it's
here,
like Christmas to me should feel like the one time of the year where we all put those things aside. And
and they started talking vaccines at the dinner table.
Yeah, and it's like, no, dude.
Blessing to my brother, he just thank God for my sister's baby too, because he was holding like my 4-month-old, and he, as soon as the vaccine conversation came up, he was just like, "Hey, look at what Mila's doing!"
Oh, I love it.
And everyone just started looking at the baby, and then it was like, "Oh, thank God!"
That
like,
being said,
let's just skirt past this. For
I know
God's sake.
I'm about to like backtrack on everything I just said. Just a heads up, again, you can stop listening to us if you want to. I think both of us are very pro-vaccine.
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of people in your timeline who weren't able to celebrate Christmas with their families this year?
A lot. It was so
many.
upsetting. But
many.
So I'm gonna attribute this to my friend Kelsey though.
Yeah.
Like inspirational thing that she sent me about one of her friends.
Yeah.
And she goes, "My friend got COVID. He can't spend Christmas with his family." And I checked in on him and was like, "Hey, are you doing okay? I know you're not going to be able to spend Christmas with your family this year." And he was like, "Yo, I'm going to watch all 3 Lord of the Rings extended cuts and crush some boneless wings." And I was like, man, we should all have that take lemons and turn into lemonade attitude. You know what I mean? Like, and so that raised a question for me that I want to pitch to you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You wake up December 23rd. Oh no, I'm not feeling well.
Ooh,
right?
okay.
You take rapid test. Shit, I got COVID.
Okay.
I can't spend Christmas with anybody.
All right.
I'm going to watch blank and eat blank.
Okay. Okay. So this includes Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Let's just say it probably includes your entire week to New Year's.
Yeah, all the way up to
you
New
are
Year's.
by yourself.
Yeah, what? And keep in mind, like this is. I like that he was just rocking Lord of the Rings. Like he's like, I'm gonna march through this franchise.
Multiple days. So we were talking about that yesterday because I got like a few comic books and they're all like in the fantasy genre. And I was like, you know what I haven't watched in a while are the Lord of the Rings movies. I said, I've only seen the theatrical cuts. I own the extended cuts, but I've never been able to bring myself to sit down and watch them because they're each like 6 hours long.
Yeah.
So I was like, we need to do that over this break. What would I watch? I'd probably go with The Wars. Honestly, I would go with The Wars, or I think let's go with the Marvel movies. Honestly, they just make me feel good.
So I was
the Marvel
leaning towards
movies
Marvel.
are what they would make me feel good, man.
But you know what? I'm thinking, honestly, this is very on brand for me. This is like the least shocking answer.
It's like I'm gonna watch fucking Emmett Otter 30 times.
I'm gonna binge. I'm gonna rewatch all of Scrubs while eating
That's
pasta.
you. Yep.
Like I'm just gonna order
And the
fucking
pasta.
Italian food.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, just bring me each day. It'll be a different dish from the
That's
same
right, I
Italian
didn't do
restaurant.
food.
Yeah, like send me some chicken parm one day. Send me some lasagna the next day. Let's get some, chicken Alfredo. Like
Hell
just
yeah,
load it up.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine would be I'd either do if we're going movies, it would be Marvel or The Wars. TV shows, I'd probably do Community, just because it's the safe show. And food wise, I'd probably just order subs every day, just a different type of sub. Like
yeah, you need the variety. That's the big thing.
Exactly.
You can't. You have to have a mix up. But you know what? I'm glad you brought up Community because I think this is the perfect ending point, really, for what we're talking about. Because I had this realization texting my friend Amy about everything, because she's had a really rough year. Probably, I would argue not to compare anything, but I would argue I'm not going to air her shit, but I would argue probably the roughest year of any human being that I've known this 2021. But she's still kicking, and that's very exciting that she's still going and motivated. But we were talking about that stuff, and I was talking about how like I feel like I'm in my 30s trying to chase the Christmas magic of my teens. But you brought up Community. The meaning of Christmas
is that Christmas
is
has
believing
meaning.
has meaning.
Yeah.
And I saw something that made me cry. I sent it to my mom at like 11 at night last night. That was like, as I grow up, I realize that the Christmas magic I felt as a child was just a mom who very much loved me. And I was like,
oh my God, dude,
I mean,
you're
that's
gonna make
fucking
me
it.
cry. I think this is oh my God. This is
But
like
it's
the
like, that's
sixth
fucking
episode
it.
in a row that we're getting teary-eyed. Oh, I already cried when you showed me those numbers. But
no, don't listen.
Oh
Don't
my
worry,
God.
guys. There's going to be some tears next week because we already recorded the live episode.
Yeah.
But then I think we're going to have a couple guests soon. Get goofy with some guests.
We should get back to normal and happy-go-lucky.
We got an episode of Big Mouth coming up. I don't think there's any tears shed on that.
Holy shit. Oh my God. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I couldn't release that in December. Are you crazy?
No, you could not. Dude, I'm just you're right. I think it's we want the Christmas magic that we had as a kid. And you just got to realize that, you know what, you're not going to get that back. Like that's not a thing anymore.
No.
So you've got to I'm trying to better understand, and I've brought this up on the podcast before, that you know what? If you want to feel that spirit all year long, you have the power.
Yep.
You can do that. And we talked about that, like the Halloween movies. Oh my God, I didn't fit all fucking 9 of the Halloween movies in before Halloween.
In my October.
Bro,
yeah.
you can watch them.
Whenever. Yeah. Well, and I think this year what was also difficult is like, I've made a bunch of career decisions that like I'm starting to see, like the little bit of green bursting out of the soil where it's like, all right, it's starting to form, but it wasn't formed in time for Christmas. So like I was really excited that my siblings were like, hey, let's all just get Christmas ornaments, because I couldn't do anything big. But I think that is like the one thing that did replace that missing Christmas magic was being able to like go overboard on gifts for like people and like seeing the joy of them opening those gifts. So to like not even have that this year really to cling to is like I didn't even buy stuff for my parents. My parents were like, don't get us anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't have to tell me twice this year. Because like it was like some gift cards for my grandparents and some Christmas ornaments and books for my brothers and sisters, and then just something small for my nieces and nephews, and I was out. Like I think I literally bought a grand total of like 8 things this year for Christmas. Like it was really small. And I kind of hated it. I would have rather spent like $1,000. Like I'd rather be like, man, how am I ever going to pay this back? Yep. But like for one day, I saw like face after face light up as they're like, you got me the perfect thing.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I did get that with like I still got that joy, right? Like you still get that. I mean, dude, you were sending me pictures of shit people were buying you, and I'm like, dude, they're nailing it for Dylan.
Yeah. We'll get to that. I do want to talk. We'll talk gifts. This is gonna be it's gonna be a semi-heavy episode, but we still got to talk about our Christmases.
Yeah, let's talk. I mean, but I guess my Christmas,
Merry Chrysler.
Yeah, my Christmas was please, I celebrate Toyotathon. But yeah, no, I'll keep mine short. I worked at a church all day on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, okay.
From 10:30 a.m. until 11:30 p.m. was when I finally got home.
Yeah.
And then hung out with my parents just with Christmas movies on until about 2 in the afternoon when my siblings showed up. Brian wasn't there yet, but we just opened gifts without him, which also felt really awkward, but like we kind of had to because extended family was coming for dinner like in an hour, and we didn't want to do like giant gift exchange with all these people around.
Yeah.
So it was nice. I mean, like I said, I got a lot of money in gift cards, which no complaints.
No complaints
2 coffee mugs. I got a Ghostbusters coffee mug and a Nightmare Before Christmas coffee mug, and I got 3 ornaments, 4 ornaments. I got
Nightmare Before Christmas was a big thing this year for some reason.
Well, and I got a Nightmare Before Christmas ornament as well. Like I got that. My brother got me the Reluctant Dragon, and my other sister got me, I don't even know what it's from, but it's just a butler with no head holding his head on a tray. It's like perfect for me. Like it's like a perfect horror ornament for my Christmas tree. And then my mom got me a Kermit and Miss Piggy Christmas ornament.
Wow.
So
the butler with no head. There's a haunted house in Ocean City, Maryland, that has something similar to that just sitting out front of it. So that would be kind of funny if for some reason.
I'll take a picture and send it to you if it's the same one. That's
please do.
The Christmas ornaments, like I'll talk about what I got for my brother and sister. I already said my sister's thing was that book. But my brother, I got him a book about serial killers from like the guy who Mindhunter was based on, because he's like a huge serial killer guy. And he actually got 3 ornaments because it was a 3-pack of Universal Monster Christmas ornaments. So it was Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman as like Christmas ornaments.
That's so sick.
And then my sister, who's a huge Disney geek like me, I got her. It's probably my favorite ornament that I bought anybody this year. Is Moana. But it's Moana like lifting her hands like that, and like the whole ornament is the waves rising around her, coming to a crescendo where you tie the bow.
Awesome!
It's It looks beautiful.
Yeah, definitely send me pictures of that.
And her daughter, I got again keeping with my like. There's got to be a little bit of Matt Kelly in those gifts.
Oh yeah.
So her daughter turned 4 months, so it was like a birthday / Christmas gift.
Give
I
her
guess.
a podcasting mic.
Yeah, hey. No, it was, those like little golden books that you get kids?
Yeah.
It was a little golden book about the history of the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney World.
That's so cool.
So I got her that, and then I got her a Sesame Street Feel the Fur book, where it's like you go through and like each like Muppet, you can like rub its fur.
Yeah.
Because, she's 4 months old, so it's not like she's going to be reading any of this. So I'm like, let me give her something that like she can touch and feel and have fun with.
That's awesome.
How about you, man? Tell me.
Right.
I mean, obviously you're talking into your gift right now.
Yeah. And we'll get to that. There's a really funny story of the way that she did this while she was giving me this gift. But we'll get there. So Christmas Eve, every Christmas Eve morning, my dad and I ride to my grandmother's to pick up gifts from her house. Because my grandmother either comes over to my parents or she goes across the bridge to my uncle's place, to put that into perspective, for those of you that don't live in Maryland, there's a big Bay Bridge that is a pain in the ass to get across on a normal basis. Nobody wants to do it on Christmas. So she'll go over there and stay with them because they have a little girl. Or she'll do every other year. Like they'll come to our place or she'll go over there.
Yeah.
So we picked up the gifts and she was going there this year. So I think that was another thing. Like I didn't have my grandmother on Christmas, so it was like that's
always
weird
a bummer
as well.
Yeah.
So we did that. And then, like I said, we went to Teddy's family's for Christmas Eve dinner, and I got a little drunk. But I was still up at 3:30 a.m. Christmas morning, and I spent 5 hours watching A Christmas Story, as one does.
Yeah.
Which I, again, going to go back to our 8-Bit Christmas episode. I think that's one of my favorite movies, dude. It's so fucking good. I love A Christmas Story. It's just
Bob Clark has dominated two different elements of Christmas time. Really, it's great. He's got the horror Christmas and he's got the Christmas classic.
Yeah. So I'm up at 3:30 and I'm like, there's no way I can get away with waking Teddy up at 3:30.
I also have to stop you to say this is the other weird divide between you and I.
Yeah.
You woke up about an hour after I went to bed.
Jesus.
Because after that last Christmas service that was over at 11:30, I had a whole second win. So I was like, I don't know, I'll throw him up at Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And then, I was like, I'm still not sleepy. Let me throw on Pee Wee's Playhouse. You know what I mean? It's just suddenly
so
it's 2 a.m. and you're like, all right, now it's time for
Here's
bed.
something we're also opposite on is when we got home, I laid in bed and I put on Black Xmas.
See, this is I am big on let me get the Christmas horror
Crazy stuff
early November.
Yeah.
By the time it's the week leading up to Christmas, I exclusively want to watch, which I think this is still true to you with Black Xmas.
Yeah.
Is just I want to watch the stuff that is this is what Christmas means to me more than anything.
And also it was something that I was like, I'm not gonna make it through this damn movie. I'm gonna put something on that I don't care if I miss some of it because I've seen it so many times. But finally, around 9:30, 10 o'clock, we get up and we exchange gifts, and our gift exchange is hilarious. Well, she found it hilarious. I did not. She hands me a box, okay? And I open this box, and it's a plain black pair of pajama bottoms. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. We're adults, but we're still kids. We're like, the fucking clothes. No. I'm just kidding. But I'm like, plain black, Hanes pajama bottoms. And I'm like, I have so many pairs of pajama bottoms. What is this? And I'll explain what I gave her in a minute. And I opened up the next gift, and it's fucking Harry Potter socks. And I'm like, that's your thing. I didn't say this. You and I are very similar people. Even if we're given a gift that we're like, you and I are still very much, thank you. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my
very
God.
cool.
Thanks.
Thank
just
you.
what I wanted.
Exactly. But I'm still sitting here like, what the fuck? And then I open up the third gift, and it's a Yeti mug, like a Yeti mug, the company. And she goes, yeah, I heard you saying to your dad that you really wanted a Yeti for Christmas. And I got you one. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't remember this, but thank you so much.
Yeah.
And she hands me the last box. It's really heavy. And I open it up, and inside the big box is 7 or 8 different things wrapped up. And I open up the one box, and it's a USB port that has 4 ports on it. I'm like, okay, where's this going? I open up the second box. It's a bag that you can put cords and stuff in. I open up the third box. It's a ring light with a stand to hold an HD camera. I open up the fourth box as an HD webcam, and I'm like, where is this going? I open up the fifth box as the headphones I'm wearing, and the final box was a Yeti mic. So she's like, see, I told you, you said you wanted a Yeti for Christmas. And I'm like, oh, you got me.
And she's like, but for real, can you give me back my gifts now? Because I really need those Harry Potter socks and pajama bottoms.
Those were actually my socks and pajama bottoms. Can you give those back to me? The mic's just for you. I said that last night. I was like, so do you want these socks that you gave me for Christmas? I was like, because listen, I'm currently in the middle of reading the books. I liked the movies, but as I'm getting further into the books, I'm realizing the movies kind of suck.
Yeah.
But
just a bit.
Yeah.
They miss some, like, the first, like, 2 or 3, they're not too bad, but then you get to, like, book 4, and it's like, oh, this is a completely different story than what the movie was telling. Yeah.
But I'm also, like, J.K. Rowling just keeps digging herself into a hole, so I'm trying not to support as much stuff as, Teddy,
I got my
Teddy
books
is
on my
across
shelf
from me
that I-
doing Harry Potter Legos. That money totally went to
Yeah, I was
Rowling
like, I got my books over there in that corner, and that is
Yeah.
like the extent of the money that I will be spending
Yeah.
on Harry Potter ever again.
But
It's
I was like,
they're-
let me
they're
take
there.
these. Let me take these Gryffindor socks because I did take the sorting test. I am a Gryffindor through and through.
Oh, see, and I'm a Hufflepuff,
you're a
which
Hufflepuff?
is the shock of literally nobody.
My sister's a Hufflepuff.
I can see that.
Yeah. So my dad and I are both Gryffindor. So you're gonna hear, for those of you listening, you can probably already tell, as Matt Kelly totally told me when I signed on. He's like, "Wow, the audio quality is an insane difference."
Yep.
This week. So this will be going forward. For those of you who have been listening for a while, I had mic issues. My last microphone, there was a short in one of the cables, and if I even hit it the wrong way, it was the most annoying buzzing noise you would ever hear in your life. And I used to do vocal covers and everything else, and I got really sad because all I had left were my iPhone headphones, and those have been getting us by, and they don't sound awful, but you can definitely, my version of a perfect podcast is when two people can record far away from each other, but it sounds like they're in the same room. Yep. And you could definitely tell that I was not with you. It always sounded like I was talking on the phone.
Yeah, I was just holding the speaker to
exactly.
the mic.
So I think this one's gonna turn out really well, and I'm really looking forward to recording more. But then we ended up going back to her family's house to exchange gifts. Her stepdad made amazing biscuits and gravy.
Nice.
But much like what you were saying, it was a lot of twiddling, twiddling our thumbs, okay, all right, cool, all right, what are we waiting for? But we exchanged gifts, and let me back up. I didn't tell you what I gave her. We went to one of her favorite movies is Onward, the Disney movie.
I love that movie so much.
And I got her the Quests of Yore RPG, which is basically there's a Quests of Yore RPG, and it's basically the way it's been described is baby's first D&D. So for people who've never played it before, and I've played D&D, but she hasn't. So we have a couple friends coming over for New Year's Eve, and I think I'm going to DM, and we're going to do a Quests of Yore campaign. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That's amazing. I love it so much.
I also got her the scrapbook from Up, the adventure book, because the first movie we watched together 2 years ago, I invited her over and we watched Up in the backyard on a projector. So
I like that your first date was do you want to cry a lot?
This was her pick. I had never seen it.
I know your ass. You definitely cried a lot that
cried, dude. I had never seen it. I had only seen that part, so I knew that was coming. But she's
That's
like,
not
no,
even
you
the
gotta
saddest
see the
part.
whole movie. And then I watched the whole movie, and I'm like,
man. Yeah, the saddest part, the opening is sad. Don't get me wrong. It's 0 to sad real fast.
Yeah.
But for me, there's some tears in the beginning, but it's the flood. Niagara Falls comes when he finally opens the adventure book and sees the message that she had left for him. And I'm just like, oh, God, he wasted so many years.
All right, Matt Kelly. Question for you. All right.
Hit me.
You're hanging out with a girl and you guys just finished watching Up. It's your first date. Okay. You're going to do a double feature. You watch Up. What's the second movie you follow with? Because mine is something you will never, ever guess what it was.
So obviously it really depends on the person and the setting and situation like that.
Yeah.
But if I'm just going based on I'm already in the mood that I've watched the movie Up, I'm let's just keep riding the tear train and put on Coco. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. You want to know what we watched after Up?
I feel like it's some type of horror movie.
We watched Blade 2.
Not even the best Blade option.
I know. Well, we had over the pandemic, when we were just friends and we were chatting, she had never seen Blade, and I was like, "You need to watch Blade," because she likes like witches and vampires and stuff like that, and she likes action movies. So I was like, "You've never seen Blade? You need to watch Blade." So after Up, I was like, "You want me to?" We didn't pay attention. We were talking the whole movie, but I was like, "Let's just throw on Blade too." But yeah, then we went to her parents' house, and her mom, while they were gifts from her mom, it was obvious that they were gifts sent to her mother. Mm-hmm. Like Teddy was like, "You need to get him this, this, and this."
Yeah.
One is a Stephen King backpack. It's an artist took a print of Stephen King books, like a picture, and they turned it into a backpack, and it's like really cool looking.
So I was looking at those pictures because you did post those pictures.
Yeah.
And for a split second, when I was just seeing the small thumbnails, I thought that you were like, "Hey, check it out. Teddy's mom bought me a bunch of Studio House stuff from my buddy Cody." Because like it had like a little bit of that look where I was like, I was like, dude, that would be so fucking funny if she didn't know.
If she didn't know I was friends with Cody and just got me a bunch of Studio House stuff.
She's like, "I saw these shirts and they made me think
Look
of
at these stacks. I got you the Stephen King stack shirt. It's so cool." And I'm like, "Oh, here's 5 of them." Like, she also got me this like Universal Monster sweater that's really cool.
Yeah, her stuff looked great. Those gifts looked almost as good as just the podcast set. You know what's funny is I feel like I've given the gift of podcasting to so many friends because my friend Gelsey Laurie of Before My Time that I produce her show, she also sent me a picture yesterday of check out what I got for Christmas, and it was a Yeti. So I think I deserve a cut from some of those Yeti sales.
I mean, literally yesterday morning, she's like, "I texted Matt." And
No, I think I may have sent literally a link and said, "Here's the one to keep."
Yeah. So we get to my parents, and I gave my sister, on her list she wanted the Twilight books. My sister's just a huge reader. Like, I mean, she reads nonstop. Good books, bad books. She just loves to read. So she's like, "I've never read the Twilight books. Like, can you get me those?" I'm like, "Sure." So I bought her the Twilight set, and this one made me more proud. She wanted, she's never read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Ooh.
So I bought her the Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yes,
that's got
that tome.
all of the books in one. So she's got plenty to read.
That's the only way I've ever read those.
Yeah.
Was in that giant like Bible-sized book, which I think has like, it's like the 4 Hitchhiker's Guide books, and then I think it's like some like novella that he also wrote that's like not technically part, but it's like close enough in tone that they're like, "Fuck it, we'll throw it in there."
And then my gifts from my grandmother, she completed my Bullet Club AEW figure set, so I got the Bucks, Adam Page, and I also got Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. So
I appreciate that your grandmother knows what you like, because mine doesn't.
Yeah.
She's given up.
I always get like horror and video game stuff, like from my parents, my grandmother.
Love it.
Like, I mean, my parents love them to death, but sometimes they'll get me the same stuff multiple times. And I'm like, they're like, "Hey, we saw it. We don't know what you have. You got a ton of shit." So I'm like, "Hey, I appreciate the fact that like you guys tried, and I thoroughly enjoy that." So.
Ain't nothing wrong with backups. That's what I say.
Exactly. And one of the big gifts they got me a bunch of comic books, so I'm super stoked to read those.
To the yeah.
Yeah. It was a good. It's not about the gifts, but it's always a bonus when you get good gifts.
For sure. No, for sure. I think the only thing I don't like about the Christmas ornament exchange concept is that I get to utilize it for about 3 days before like I have to wait a whole year to have any use for it. But I mean, I would love for and I'll have to try to pitch this maybe sometime in like September next year. But like, hey, I love the idea of the ornament exchange. Can we actually get each other other gifts as well, though? Like, for the love of God.
I love it. I love that you get mugs every year. Like,
I mean, that was like one of those things where I had 1 year where I was like, you know what, I need to like load up on mugs, and now it's almost become a problem because I'm like, I don't know if I got space for all these damn mugs,
dude.
Like,
so being a teacher, and every teacher will say the same thing. That's the gift. Like your students will give you mugs, and I also get mugs every year. But the unfortunate part is they're never like funny mugs. They're just always Happy Holidays mugs. Like they either say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays.
Just so many Christmassy mugs in your house.
Exactly. So literally, I stopped by I was texting you. I was going to pick up the gifts from my parents' house, and I pulled out 2 Christmas mugs, and I was like, "Here you guys go. These are for my students."
Yeah,
again, just like you said, our cabinet is insane. With mugs.
I have to reorganize the cabinet. I think it's not like, it's just that it's like there are mugs that I have that I will always have because there's some type of sentimental value, right? Like it's a mug that like maybe my niece got me for like the first Christmas that she was like part of the family or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And like that's sweet. I'm not ever going to get rid of it. But it's also like I like a big ass cup of tea when I'm going to have, and it's like a smaller mug. So it's like I might need to just kind of put those smaller mugs in like the higher, further part of the cabinet so that like the mugs that I actually am going to grab and use on a regular basis have like more of a predominant spot. Yeah. Because my parents got me 2 big ass like soup bowl size mugs, so I'm going to be using them. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to be like hidden. Like you see when I'm drinking something when we're recording, it's usually like a big ass or a tall one. You know what I mean? Like I don't do like the little kind of like 4 sips in your done
well,
cup.
Well, because I mean, and I run into the problem all the time when you and I, especially when you and I record in the morning and I make coffee, I try to get a big mug because there's so many times that I'm like, I'm done my fucking coffee. Yeah. Can we pause? Like,
can we pause this? Well, you know what, Dylan? I think what we need to do is, like I said, I'll hit up some people. We'll get a couple guests in the coming episodes, right? We'll give ourselves a little bit of a seasonal break. Maybe we'll drop. You and I both appeared on a couple other people's podcasts. Maybe we'll get the approval to release some of the audio of our appearances on there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, right around February, once we're like back on our feet, I think it's time for you and I to hang out in person again and hit record on some podcasts.
Dude, I miss you so fucking much, bro.
I can't miss you because I've got your sheets and pillows.
Yeah, you still have
here
sheets, pillows, everything else of mine over there, man.
It's like you're here every day.
Exactly. That's what I was. We'll talk about it off air, but I definitely want to set up a time, even if it's not just recording. I miss you, bro.
Yeah,
so I need to come up there.
100%.
We'll hang out.
I got some ideas for you. We'll pitch. We'll talk. We'll talk,
dude. I'm so excited, dude. Honestly, before we close out, thank you to everyone who has been listening. Like seriously, Matt showed me the numbers, and I'm absolutely blown away. Somebody who's been listening to Christmas podcasts for a while, which sounds so weird. I mean, I guess it doesn't sound weird to you guys because you're also listening to Christmas podcasts. But when Matt pitched the idea to do a Christmas podcast, I said to him, I was like, I would love to. And have you listened to these? And I named like 5 different shows, and just like you said, to be put up there with like Christmas Past, a podcast that I've been listening to for a very long time. Yeah,
can't wait till Christmas.
Part of exactly, can't wait till Christmas. Being a part of the Christmas podcast Discord that we've gotten to join. Like it's absolutely insane, and I've always wanted to do a podcast, but I knew that the market of non-topic podcasts is really oversaturated. So like finding something unique to talk about and bringing our own unique twist to it, just being able to do that is insane, and I love it.
I think that was the big thing. You were like, hey, check out these podcasts, and like my big takeaway when I listened to them was like, okay, thank God none of these sound like what I'm trying to create.
Exactly.
Like as I didn't want it to be a carbon copy of something else. I was like, I want this to be a show that's like funny, goofy, conversational, honest, can sometimes get sad, has that explicit warning with pride on it, like like a very adult. It was what I loved about when I was doing the Disney podcast, where it's like we were in a Disney podcast that said "fuck" a lot on that show, and I was like, I think that there's something really beautiful about like mixing like adult language with something so overly wholesome. Like, like there's some. If anything, my idea when I pitched it to you was like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the show The Gilmore Guys, but I want to do The Gilmore Guys, but with Christmas.
And that's the thing is like, we're not coming on here like being assholes. Like that's just how we talk. We just have
just
genuine,
the passion. Yeah,
we just have genuine conversations.
It's and I think that's kind of like to get a little bit on the soapbox. The thing that I love about just Geekscape as a whole right now is, we've got, especially doing the live stream, just shined a light on this all the more. Just we've got all of these amazing shows that are people who are just so passionate about stuff. And discovering, like there's a show that we signed this year that I'm not sure if you've had a chance to check out, Waifus and Weeaboos.
No, but that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's a dude from South Jersey who fucking loves anime.
Yeah.
But his passion of anime is like, first of all, he's like deep cut shit. Like he's talking about stuff that I've never even heard of in casual conversation with friends who like anime. But he's doing it with his thick ass South Jersey, Philadelphia accent. And he's just like, this fucking guy, like just getting like but he's so excited and loves it so fucking much. And it's like, I think that's like when I was given the okay to make Geekscape whatever I wanted Geekscape to be.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. Is like, I want shows where the people are so passionate about what they're talking about that they lose track of themselves almost. Like, and I think that's why people do like Christmas 365 is like, hey, I don't think that we shove the Christmasiness down their throats from like January to October, really. We're like, hey, here's some like adjacent stuff. But like,
and that's like, that's my favorite Christmas stuff. We've talked about that all the time. You're like, how does that make you think of Christmas? I was like, I don't know. It just does. I think like, we always have that one topic to steer us in a certain Christmassy direction. But I think a lot of the times, especially our off-season shows, it's kind of like a LaCroix. Like we're having conversation. There's Christmas happening, like maybe outside.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a hint of Christmas. I mean, there's so many times
Christmas
where
wafting in the air.
Exactly. There's so many times where we'll pop on and we won't even talk before we record, and we'll just catch up on the show. And that's what I love about the show.
That's the best part about it.
Yep.
It's the only, and this does become like the difficult thing, and you and I are getting a good balance with it. It took years for Scott and I to get a good balance of it with Horror Movie Night.
Is it that you never shut the fuck up?
Yeah. No, it's that like sometimes sometimes it's like, oh, we almost exclusively only talk on the podcast. And like finding that balance to be like, no, we can like talk about like life and shit and it doesn't have to be recorded, I guess.
Yeah. No, dude, I talk to, like, no joke, I talk to you almost every day, if not every day.
It was when I was in LA visiting Jonathan from Geekscape. He said something and his fiance was like, oh, I didn't know Matt knew about that. And he goes, bitch, I talked to him more than you.
Yeah. Exactly, man.
But yeah, no, that was Christmas. Christmas, dude. 2021 in the bag. Merry Christmas, Dylan.
Oh my God. Merry Christmas, Matt. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Whoa, 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 now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Have a happy holiday. Have a great, great, great holiday. Have a merry, 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 happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.